Hey there, nonprofit leaders. I recently met a CEO who runs a nonprofit refugee center, and I wanted to share our conversation with you. Her organization is facing some of the toughest challenges imaginable: threats to documented and undocumented immigrants, shifting government policies, and the constant emotional weight of caring for people in crisis. So when she told me, "I love my job," I was stunned and inspired. I asked, "Well, what makes that true for you, especially in a year this hard?" And she said, "Because I have a lot of agency." That one sentence stopped me in my tracks because so many nonprofit leaders feel like they don't have control. But today, we're going to talk about what it really means to have agency, how to reclaim it, and why this mindset can change everything about how you lead. Welcome to Nonprofit CEO Spark, the podcast for bold leaders ready to navigate growth and change with energy and confidence. I'm Marcia Beckner, nonprofit founder, former executive director, and culture strategist with nearly 20 years in the social impact world. Each week, I help nonprofit leaders stop spinning out, set boundaries, and design inclusive cultures where all staff can thrive. If you're ready to reignite your leadership without sacrificing your well-being, hit subscribe and let's spark your next chapter together. That word agency really stuck with me because, let's be honest, most nonprofit CEOs and executive directors right now are stretched pretty thin. The government's unpredictable, funders keep shifting their priorities, boards have opinions on everything, and staff, as dedicated as they are tired. It can feel like everything's happening to you. But agency isn't about controlling everything, it's about owning what you can shape. You're not just a passenger in this mission, you're the driver. You help steer the direction and the culture even when the waves are rough. Agency is that inner compass that says, I can't control the wind, but I can adjust my sails. Having agency means you can have both the ability and the responsibility to design. You can design your role, where you focus, what you delegate, and how you use your time. You can design your culture, how people communicate, how conflict is handled, and how decisions are made. You decide who's on your team, which partners you collaborate with, and even which board members you invite into your organization. That's the beauty of leadership. You have real influence even when the world feels upside down. Of course, leadership is co-creative. You don't do it alone. Your board, your staff, your community all play a role. But still, you are the architect. You set the tone. And when things aren't working, the most powerful question you can ask is, where have I given away my agency without realizing it? That question reminds me of another CEO I'm working with right now. She's brilliant, incredibly mission-driven, but lately she's been working from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and sometimes even later. When I asked her why, she said, "Well, I just have meetings back-to-back all day, every day, so I have to get my work done before and after work." And she said it like it was completely out of her control. But she's the CEO. She actually does have agency over her calendar. She can decide which meetings truly need her, which can be delegated, and which might not need to happen at all. What she's missing isn't discipline, it's design. If she created space in her day for strategic, thoughtful work, she could lead with vision instead of over-functioning. And here's the subtle problem. When she's not in control of her time, she's teaching her team that they don't have control over theirs either. She's not telling them to work all the time, but people will follow what they see. There is a power differential to be aware of, and your actions speak louder than words. Here's a concrete example. The CEO of the refugee center I was telling you about, she tells her leadership team not to email or call staff outside of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. working hours. This is one rule that can accelerate appreciation, trust, and respect. She's valuing her team's right to recharge every night and every weekend. And that's why reclaiming your agency isn't just about protecting your time. It sets a positive cultural tone for your whole organization. You know, this is exactly why I created the Culture Cares framework. It came from years of watching incredible leaders lose their sense of control, not because they weren't capable, but because the weight of expectations and burnout slowly chipped away at their confidence. The CARES framework helps leaders reclaim that agency in a practical, people-first way. It centers around 5 pillars: commitment, appreciation, respect, engagement, and safety. And when you strengthen those 5 things, you start to feel more grounded and confident again without having to push harder. And the best part, when you do that, your team feels more agency too. They take ownership. They lead alongside you. That's how healthy, inclusive, and empowering cultures are built. That's how you unify your teams. And one more quick story to inspire you. Another client of mine, a founder and CEO of a growing $2 million nonprofit, did something radical. He took a 4-day weekend and completely disconnected. No phone, no email, no calls, just time in the mountains. When he came back, he told me, "I can't believe how amazing my team was while I was gone." They operate a 24/7 facility, and yet everything ran smoothly. But I wasn't surprised at all. He spent the last few months building a competent team he trusts and empowers to take real ownership. And because when you do that, there's no reason to overwork yourself to the bone. Your team will rise to the level of trust you give them. And after just 2 months of us working together, he told me he feels like a completely different person, both professionally and personally. That made my day. He's more energized, less stress. The culture is alive again. It's collaborative, happy, unstoppable. And that's what happens when you lead with agency, when you trust yourself and your people enough to step back, recharge, and let others shine. So let's go back to that CEO leading the refugee center. She's working in one of the hardest spaces right now, surrounded by fear, uncertainty, and constant change, and yet she's steady, grounded, and genuinely fulfilled. When I thought about why, I realized it's because she's chosen to be a lighthouse in the storm. She knows she can't calm the water or change the weather, but she can stand firm and shine her light so others can find their way. Her calm gives her team confidence. Her steadiness gives her community strength. And that's what leading with agency looks like. Not trying to control the storm, but deciding to be the lighthouse within it. You have the same potential. You don't have to burn the candle at both ends to succeed. You can be the lighthouse in your own storm. But if you're struggling to claim agency over your work and life, you don't have to move mountains alone. Most boards are happy to support you if you ask. You may want coaching, mentoring, or simply a 4-day weekend to breathe mountain air and take a break. If you're heading towards burnout, talk to your board. Ask for the support that helps you sustain your spark because your well-being is part of the mission too. So here's your spark plug shift for the week. What if you showed up as the lighthouse for your team, not trying to control the ocean, but choosing to be a steady, grounded presence? On your daily to-do list, I challenge you to draw a lighthouse for fun and ask, what would a lighthouse do? Would it be on every ship in the ocean and every meeting and doing every task? Or would it calmly surrender and shine its light so that others can follow your direction? Take a thoughtful look at your calendar. What meetings truly need you? What tasks could be delegated, paused, or redesigned for greater impact, not just busyness? Because that's how you lead with light. That's how you empower your team, and that's how you reclaim your agency. I'll leave you with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Matthew Kelly. "Who you become is infinitely more important than what you do or what you have." Thanks for listening to Nonprofit CEO Spark. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Nonprofit CEO Spark. If you're ready to turn burnout into boundaries and build a healthy, happy culture where everyone, including you, can thrive, visit culturecares.com to learn how I support nonprofit organizations like yours. If this episode brought you value, share it with a fellow leader navigating stress and overwhelm. And remember, you are meant for great things, and you don't have to burn out to prove it. Until next time, keep leading with courage and confidence.